Hi Taurus, here is a general look at your solar chart for August 2014. Now it could be about relationships, it could be about the past, it could be about tradition, it could be about property matters, it could be about the neighborhood, the community, the tribe. But very much until the 23rd, your attention will center around the base of operations. Might just be partly about mowing the grass. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you'll be concerned with that. But property matters, yes, could be on your mind, but it could be to do with family. It could be to do with family type relationships or neighborhood relationships or tribal or extended family sort of tribal relationships. And you feeling things more deeply, you just a little bit more introverted with your attention, particularly until mid-month. On the 7th, you do well to get active on behalf of others, to be supportive towards others there, to not, just to leave your ego on the shelf for that day, but also to be looking after yourself a bit more that day. And this energy will very much tap into the dreamer in you, and you could be cooking something up, you could be dreaming something up, you could be, working with the law of attraction, working with manifestation there. But then very quickly that energy changes, because really early in the month is quite a nice, expansive sort of energy, but then that energy changes from just the beginning of the second week, the 8th, 9th. You've got to push through there, and you should, but also you should be taking advantage of this wave of Uranian energy, which is very, shall we say, you could meet somebody nice, or you could meet somebody interesting, put it like that. Whether they're sort of so-called, nice as pie, or just really, really fascinating. They don't have to be nice, but they can be fascinating, or they can bring you a knowledge that you didn't know before. Yeah, and deliver environments or entertainments which are quite surprising or unexpected, or conversations which are surprising and unexpected, and you could be in exchanges with others who appreciate the way you articulate your storytelling, or just your general self-expression, what you have to say, maybe through some sort of artistic medium it could be, and just on that subject, media of all kinds is favored. And that transit of Venus, which is in a very sociable sector of your chart, and that's your ruling planet, so we have to pay attention to where she is, could bring warm, supportive relationships with friends, neighbors, siblings, brothers, soul brothers or sisters. And if you want to get out of a tight spot, if you need to pour oil on troubled waters, if you want to persuade somebody into something, get people on side, or indeed negotiate for something, and you need to get the price down, or you need to get better conditions, then you can be very persuasive, and this energy can very much support that. But like I say, you could meet somebody special. But around the 8th and the 9th, you need to be pushing quite hard there. Maybe you've just got to, maybe you missed the train or the bus. I mean, I'm just thinking of a scenario, and you really are fed up because it means you're going to miss other connections, or the plane, I suppose. And then this absolutely delightful being just comes and sits next to you, whether it's male or female. Or you see a UFO. Or you see the most amazing, passing, just sort of fleeting sight, which just stops your heart for a moment. And so that was born out of quite a sort of negative situation. You see what I'm trying to say? So it can be something like that, maybe there. Now, until the 16th, discussions could be very much revolving around the home base or a locality that you're in if you're not at home. Also to do with the neighborhood, also to do with family and, you know, what to see, where to go, maybe if you're not at home, schedules, plans for the day, but also physical space, inside or outside property matters. And it can be, if you are at home, it could be just a mentally very busy time, visiting or playing host, you know, right in your own backyard, but also working over the wires like I am here and now. And then from the 16th, Mercury moves into a more fun-orientated, I call this a house of fun. So there will be some more laughs and jokes cracked along the way, and creative juices are flowing. But also, again, this does underpin that sort of idea that there could be some romance, or there could be something pleasing, which makes you feel special coming along there. And interaction with children is more likely, interaction with young, you know, little ones, children, youngsters, and animals, and also those who you feel attracted to and who are attracted to you. And then from the 12th, Venus then comes into the very root of your chart, and she can just warm up that area a huge amount. And is sharing that area with the sun. The sun leaves there on the 23rd, so you might want to embellish a space. You might be very much enjoying a space or where you're located, and who you meet there, and so on, and you just have that sort of feeling of appreciation. Or it could be about family, and again, this is a time here to feel more harmonious. If there have been skeletons rattling in the closet, and you felt emotionally at 6s and 7s, then this can be a more harmonious time. Now, like I said at the beginning, it can be about, you know, relationships, particularly family type relationships, or within the tribe, the neighborhood, because of the position of Mars, which has come into the same area as Saturn. And Saturn, as I have been repeating often myself over the last months, is in the sign opposite yours, and will be there until more or less the end of the year, except for a little short visit back into that area for about 3 months in 2015, but just the last about 3-4 degrees. So this Saturn, long Saturn transit is going to be activated by the presence of Mars in a very short transit there. Mars is coming out of there in about the middle of September. So Mars is in this area here, and as I say, stirring up what Saturn is about. And Saturn is challenging you, is manifesting behavior from others, and also maybe neediness from others, which you find puts pressure on you. You feel there's a lack there. That is the thing about Saturn. It's an astringent, contracting, quite narrow, indrawing energy. In the northern hemisphere, it's to do with winter. So it's a contracting energy. So you might feel, you know, there isn't that flow. There isn't that feeling of abundance and there being enough. There's a lack. There's a scarcity. This is in your house of long-term relationships. So it could be that you are keenly aware of there not being the right sort of person there, or any person at all, but on the other hand, falling short of the person or the people who are there, falling short of their standards in some way, or their expectations in some way, and you feel very frustrated about that at times, and you feel inhibited as well. But it does rather get you to focus on your own behavior and expectations, your own standards in one-to-one relationships. Now, Saturn usually works a lot, delivers without too much trouble in formal type relationships, like in business type relationships. And she does tend to sort of stumble a bit and gets a bit clumsy in quite emotional, intimate relationships. So if it's that, you can feel quite hurt sometimes with this Saturn energy because you clash or because, as I say, it isn't as you expected it, wanted it, planned it to be. And you have to gradually confront yourself and your own behavior and your own expectations, perhaps historically as well. And as I say, clean up your act a little bit. Because Saturn is a very, very strong teacher planet, but she does it through throwing the gauntlet down to you and saying, okay, now show me what you could do. Here's a few obstacles for you to get over. Here's a few hoops for you to jump through. Let's just see what you're made of. And that's the way she works. And Mars has come in here and really has started to stir up this energy. It means that you'll want things to go faster in that area, but actually Saturn is very much got the brakes on. So it's a bit like having one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake with Mars, the speedy, impatient Mars, in this very, very slow, cautious, restricted, limiting Saturn energy, which just likes to do things very, very gradually. And you Taurians born with 15 to 19 degrees rising or in the middle 10 days of Taurus are going to feel that energy the most at the moment. From the, let's see, yes, and then from the 23rd, the sun is moving into a much brighter, more fun sort of area. The Mars-Saturn transit I was just telling you about is like a long-term lesson, really. I suppose that is the way to put it in this school of the soul, which is very much a limited place. That's what I think, anyway. And but on a sort of more surface level, the position of the sun does come into this brighter, more fun area, puts you center stage maybe for some reason, and also, again, gives you more opportunity to contact little ones, children, youngsters, animals, pets, romantic partners, or just mates that you like to hang out with. Also leisure pursuits, entertainments of all kinds, the leisure industry, the entertainments industry for some of you, and definitely the arts. Well, I suppose those are really, but other arts. And you should aim for some downtime on the 29th, by the way, because your worldly energies, you know, will be at a low. You shouldn't expect too much of yourself on that day, but also you can sort of start to tap in, tune in your receiver, and then maybe something suddenly becomes clear to you. And Jupiter is now in its new cycle in your home area for 12 months. It'll be in there until August, in general, highlighting expansion on the home base. Some of you will relocate. Some of you will be enjoying maybe DIYing and maybe extending the space, or maybe you finding that you start having more people coming into your space, so you're forced to extend it in some sort of a way, maybe a garden shed. Also family, community, just feeling, you know, there could be a new arrival for some of you, just feeling that there is more for you to play with, more going for you there, and you can branch out to do with family, neighborhood, community, tribe, and property matters. You could do quite well if you relocate under this transit. And if you feel cramped and restless, then very much over this time of Jupiter being here at the root of your chart, you will start thinking bigger, or maybe getting access getting access to somewhere that you prefer. You start sort of, you know, sort of getting together a plan and organizing a plan for the future. It's very much a sort of optimistic, future orientated energy, and you will get the chance to start feeling better in your skin, more settled inside, more less, you know, if you have felt cramped, or your emotions have been all over the place, this Jupiter energy is just going to help smooth that out, which is going to run longer than the time that Saturn has been in your opposite sign. So that is very, very much going to offset the action of this long-term transit from Saturn, which, by the way, is a great teacher. You know, Saturn is a great builder. So another way completely that Saturn transit can work, and this is Saturn playing at the top of a game more. You know, this is Saturn delivering in a more positive way, is that you should be perhaps connecting yourself with somebody who you admire, respect, who is more mature than you, or has a knowledge that you very much have respect for and admire, and you study with them, or just by being with them you become you know, a wiser person, a more philosophical person. This might be somebody you know personally, or somebody at a distance who you don't know. Maybe you read their stuff, I don't know. But Saturn very much can build a new sense of self through the mirror that somebody is holding up to you over this very, very long transit. So that's it for August. If you know your rising sign and your moon sign, listen to those. And also, if you want to check out anything, all of this is written up on my website. And I wish you well, and I'll see you the next time.